very familiar with since we do a lot of golf. The legend himself, Arnold Palmer, passed away at age 87. So we had at both ends of the spectrum: 24, a young man, and 87, a guy who had lived a full life.
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly a life can end just like that and out of nowhere. So it was very unexpected. Jose Fernandez, RIP to him. And the guy, his story alone was pretty much inspirational. Him being caught trying to get to America 3 times just so he can try to get a chance to play baseball, to him getting over here, playing for the Marlins, having a pretty good career, and then just to end it like that. And from a boating accident, then you got a guy like Arnold Palmer who just changed the golf game dramatically back when he first got introduced, him, Jack Nicklaus. And the way his swagger, his attitude really made golf cool, what people would say. And you see that a little bit with Tiger. Tiger changed the game, but you have those guys in every sport that you know is special, and once they change the sport, they change it forever.
So really what you're saying, he was Tiger before Tiger.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Well, I know, Miles, golf is not a big one of your big things, but that's okay. But Reggie and I definitely enjoyed ourselves. Well, before we get into that, let's listen to a little bit. I think I have a clip here available, a dramatic and very poignant Marlins first game obviously after Jose Fernandez had passed away. They actually canceled their game against the Braves, had a game against the Mets, and I think our engineer might have a clip of probably one of the best tributes that you can ask for an athlete. This was his good friend Dee Gordon in his first at bat last night at the Marlins game. Let's see if we can hear a little bit of that clip.
Dee Gordon went up there right-handed. I'm going to guess that he had Jose's helmet, because after he took that first Bartolo Colon pitch, Dee changed helmets and went to his side, the left side of the batter's box.
Dave, some of the pictures we saw from yesterday.
Yep. And he hits a high fly ball. This is deep to right field. He has homered for Jose. 1-0 Marlins. Dee Gordon circles the bases, his very first home run of this season, and now gets to home plate, put his hand to his heart twice, and he is overcome by emotion again. Just got a hug from Ozuna, another from Martin Prado, and heads into the dugout.
I understand you talked to your teammates last night after the game about God. If you could, what was it you said to them?
I told them, I said, man, if y'all don't believe in God, y'all need to start, because they've been with me for 2 years, and they ain't never seen me hit a ball up there. Batting practice or nothing. So, I had to be honest. I think I had a little help.
Electrifying moment. I mean, when I saw that, I was almost moved to tears when I first saw that. Just a stunning moment. Here there's a guy that your good friend has just passed away, and the guy, normally he's a very light hitter. He's only hit, I think, 7 or 8 home runs in his whole major league career and had not hit one all season. And then to get up there after taking a swing, left-handed, which Jose is, and then to get right-handed, and then to get up there and 2 pitches later hit a home run. Unbelievable moment.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show the power of God and what he does. And hopefully Jose did believe in God. He's rest in peace with the Lord and Savior right now. And just to have that type of moment right after he died, it's just powerful.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's a sad occasion, and to hear what happened, so unfortunate out there. Just ain't no telling. I don't know. We don't know what happened, the full story, but just a young man, life getting taken from him right when it was just beginning. Really, he was about to get a big contract next year. So he was just at the beginning of his career, and just sad to see that going. And like you said, that is the power of God if you have faith, and just knowing that God knew his heart was with, Mr. Fernandez, and just.
Well, that's why every broadcast, I know sometimes people say they're not expecting that from from a sports show. Mm-hmm. That's always I make that appeal that if you in fact do not know the Lord and Savior as your personal, do not know the Lord Jesus Christ your personal Savior. That's why I always implore you to do so, because we just don't know what our time is here, and He is in fact the only way by which we can get to heaven. So I do tell people, hey man, I am a preacher, so I can only give you who I am. And I do tell people, you need to get right with God. And not only just for that aspect, but even in terms of saying, hey, man, you want to have a life well lived here upon the earth. So, and that's the way you do it, is a relationship with him. Well, listen, if you guys want to call in, 404-361-1571. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570. Well, really quickly, before we call in our guest for the evening, one of our guests for the evening, Mr. Walt Harris, we're going to talk a little bit. Me and Reggie and I, we had a chance to go out there to the end-all of end-all, the Tour Championship, the FedEx Cup. First of all, Reggie, you look like you were very excited when I saw you down there with your official press credentials.
Oh, yeah, it was great to actually get press credentials, number one, be able to get inside the ropes. I've never been that close before at East Lake, and be able to walk on the actual first hole. And just to see the overall morale at East Lake was amazing. And the golf was amazing. The golf was amazing as well.
And, of course, we got an opportunity to talk about inside the ropes. We were actually on the first tee, where one of your comrades from the first tee actually was able to, after Mr. Hal Sutton, the great Hal Sutton, who won, I believe, the first Tour Championship event, for that young man to come on and be the future. I know you kind of thought to yourself, that could be me.
Yeah, if First Tee of Atlanta got the opportunity, who knows? But shout out to First Tee of East Lake and the opportunity, and Solomon. He did a great job, hit a nice drive.
Yep, hit it in the fairway, then hit it in the weeds. That's always the thought, all that pressure, and so many people there lining that. And for him, again, to have that opportunity, and for you to be a part of that organization, I know it made you feel proud.
Oh, yes, sir, definitely proud. Meet a lot of different people through First Tee. It's amazing, our organization.
Well, we're going to go ahead and speaking of the Tour Championship in the First Tee, it was a dramatic close to that event. Unbelievable how it ended. Rory McIlroy showing once again the brilliance that he had shown a couple of years ago when he had won 2 majors. And he came on strong. An unbelievable a pitch in from about 138 yards on the 16th to get everything going. And then another miraculous birdie coming down the stretch at 17 and almost won it in regulation, just barely missing a birdie putt, but won it in overtime. And I think we also have Rory's comments here as well as he talks to the press after the Tour Championship win, and also his comments about Arnold Palmer. Let's go to see if we can get Rory McIlroy's comments right now. We're going to take a peek and see if we have him on the docket. This is Rory McIlroy talking about his win after the Tour Championship, and Rory talking after the Tour Championship, and also his comments about Mr. Arnold Palmer. Let's go to him now.
When I saw Rory on the first tee today, he looked at me and said, he said, I'm going to make it pretty exciting this afternoon. And indeed you did. Of course, I want to thank Southern and Coke for not just sponsoring, but making the last hours of watching these guys free of commercials. Yeah. And it's been a phenomenal week. And let me give you the winner of the Tour Championship in the 10th edition. Congratulations.
Roy, we're standing here on the 16th green, an eagle in regulation, a birdie here. How magical was the entire day for you to come from that far behind and get it done?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, as I said at the start of the day, all I wanted to do was concentrate on winning the Tour Championship. I couldn't control what anyone else did. I just needed to come out here and play a really good round of golf, and I somehow was able to tie it up in regulation. I played with Ryan all day, who played phenomenally well. You know, big credit is due to him. He's playing fantastic golf and has done over the past few months, so he should be really proud of himself. But I just wanted to go out here and play the way I've been playing. I've played really well this week, and feel like my game's coming together at the right time. And 2 wins in the last 3 feels pretty nice.
It's obviously very sad. I mean, Arnold has meant so much to a lot of us in this game, and I don't think we would be where we were today if Arnie wasn't around or didn't do the things that he did for golf. I mean, he really put it on the map. I mean, he leaves a legacy that no one else in any other sport will leave. And I think anyone will tell you that. He was a great man. He did a lot for his fellow golfers, but he did so much for charity as well. The work that he did up in Orlando with the Children's Hospital, and I mean, he was just such a nice man, such a generous man. And I was lucky enough to spend some time with him over the past couple of years, and they're memories I'll have for the rest of my life.
Was Rory McIlroy, his comments first after the Tour Championship, and then they asked him, because they actually did not release the information about Mr. Palmer's death until after the tournament was over and after the original press conference, as not to put a damper on the spirits of all who attended there. So, again, shout out, as we mentioned, Arnold Palmer. I had a opportunity. I narrowly missed an opportunity to meet him about 20 years ago when I was selling cars back in Connecticut. There was a golf course that he owned, and we were in the hunt to provide one of the vehicles, and unfortunately just narrowly missed getting a chance to meet Mr. Palmer. That would have been a great thrill for me. Arnold Palmer gone at 87, and sadly Jose Fernandez gone at 24. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. Phone lines are going to be open in just a moment, 404-361-1571. Well, one of the things we like to try to do here is highlight the good things that are going on in the world of sports, especially when we have so many athletes here in the metro Atlanta area. And one of the things that we're doing now is providing a platform for these athletes called the Players' Porch. And the first guy that's going to join us here is a gentleman that has a huge impact here in the metro Atlanta area and really across the country. A former NFL player, played with 4 teams, including the 49ers and the Patriots. And he is now the vice president of the Metro Atlanta NFLPA alumni chapter, which, interestingly, is the largest chapter in Atlanta. Good friend of the show, Mr. Walt Harris, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, great. First of all, good to have you on the show. I know we've been trying to coordinate and get this thing done for a while, so, man, we're just excited that you pressed your way. I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather, but he said, I'm a trooper. He's going to go ahead and call in and get with us. Well, first of all, man, give people a little bit of background of how you kind of really came to that position of being involved now with the NFLPA and the Alumni Association.
Sure. Yep. Well, I've been retired, I've been retired for over a few years, and so for me, it was very important for me to at some point get back into the game and try to get more involved into the community. So there were a number of guys that reached out to me and said, hey, man, come out and get involved with the chapter. And that was some of the things that I wanted to do. So I ended up getting out, getting involved and signing out, getting a lot of information that I did not know in regards to being with the chapter. So once I did that, I said, hey, let me get more involved. And at that point, I learned a lot and picked up a lot. And so, I was just nominated to be one of the vice presidents and just wanted to just go all in.
Well, I tell you, man, like I said, you guys do a lot of great work here. Last time I ran into you was actually at your fundraiser. You guys are getting set to have a big golf tournament, which you guys do here to raise funds. And it's just, like I said, just exciting to see so many of you guys, giving back to the community and, really making an impact right here in the metro Atlanta area.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate you coming out. It's good to see familiar faces and seeing new faces. That's what it's all about, just interacting, getting back connected with the community.
Well, man, you are my understanding is you are a bulldog, a different kind of bulldog, Mississippi State.
MSU Bulldogs. I'm sorry for that Georgia fans, but it's all good. We're all in the same game.
All in the same game. Well, you had an outstanding career at cornerback there at the Mississippi State. All SEC as a sophomore, second team, started every game. Set school records with 6 interceptions that year. Was an AP and coaches, first team All-American, starting every year as a junior. You just have had huge impact there at Mississippi State. And I know it must make you feel good to see what they've been able to do with that program, especially in the last couple of years.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've just been really blessed to, just coming from a small town. I've been blessed to just be able to get out of small town, LaGrange, Georgia.
Right down the road, baby.
Yeah, right down the strip there, and getting out of Georgia a little bit. Just to kind of engage with some other things going on in different areas, and just getting us college scholarships. And so I've been blessed to be able to go over there and play and pretty much have some successful college career.
And then later went on to the pros, really also made a huge mark there in the professional realm as well. Was a first-round draft pick by the Chicago Bears, actually number 13 overall in the draft. That's some elevated air there, sir. Not too many guys get a chance to get picked out in the first round. Later went on to do an outstanding job with the Bears, 113 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. Later went on to be a Pro Bowl and an All-Pro Bowler in 2006. San Francisco 49er MVP when you went there, led the NFL and NFC in interceptions that year. So, man, you've had really a stellar career in the pros as well as doing big things in college as well.
Yeah, I can't complain at all. It's been a journey, like I say, just coming from a small town and just being blessed to be able to play at the highest of the highest levels. And so there's nothing else for me to stay in the negative, just to be positive and really feel very blessed and fortunate.
Speaking of blessed, really quickly before we get into the nuts and bolts here, and we're probably going to have you come on into the second segment as well. Real quickly, what was it like to be a teammate of Peyton Manning there in 2002, 2003, when he was really, I think, he pretty much had a long career where he was outstanding, but those years he was a young gun then.
Oh, absolutely. My man, Peyton Manning, it was very fortunate just to be able to play with a future Hall of Fame quarterback. And I tell you, it's nothing like, being on the team and playing with a guy at that caliber, because what a lot of people don't see, we get to see him day in and day out on the practice field, after practice, doing the extra, and you begin to see all the work behind the scenes that leads into him being such an awesome quarterback that he is, that he's been.
Well, I tell you, man, it is, like you said again, just great to have you on with us. Now, what are some of the things that you guys have going on right now with the NFLPA that you really like to let people know about?
Yeah, but the PA, we're always doing different things and trying to stay involved. We always support different, community outlets. We just finished up, obviously, and you was there with the NFLPA pairing party that led to the golf tournament. And what the golf tournament really does is it raises funds so that it can go back into the college scholarship fund. Now, that was created back in 1995 through the NFLPA, in which that money goes to help raise funds for college students that sometimes don't have the money to make it to college. And so we feel very fortunate to be able to do different things such as that to raise funds and be able to help college kids out. And so we want to continue to do more with that, increase the number of the different students that we get every year. And that's just one of the things that we have going on. And we just try to stay involved as much as we can all throughout the year.
Well, it's interesting, man. Just like you said, again, being able to cover some of the things that you guys do. It's like I said, it's just really just seeing you guys make that impact to have this scholarship money available, because people don't understand that college costs are going up each and every year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it takes a lot of money for college. And I can't even say back in the days when I was playing, it still was a challenge. And so, we need as much support as we can, and we want to be able to try to help those students be able to be blessed and be fortunate enough to have the opportunity that we've had in the past.
Well, I tell you, man, like I said again, it is great to have you guys do what you do. Now, for you personally, is there anything that you would like to talk to us about in terms of some things that you do, maybe in addition to what the NFLPA or certain things within the organization that you say, hey, man, of all the stuff we do, this is kind of something that Walt Harris is really, excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. The Official Pro Players is an organization that I pretty much started earlier this year, and what it basically is almost somewhat the same, but it caters a little bit different than what the PA alumni does. It's a network of professional athletes, and it's not just football players, but it's also basketball players, baseball players, and it's a membership of those guys. And our goal is basically to engage, unite, and empower. And as we do that, we engage with one another, we empower each other, and we unite as one. And so as we do that, we go out in the community and do the same, and we connect with the community. We have a number of different social events that we do, sometimes with the members only, but we also involve the public to get involved with us so that we can all be one happy big family and stay connected. We have an event that's coming up on October the 8th. It's the Official Pro Players, luxury boat party that we're having on October the 8th. And it's a members only, but we also, we wanting others to get involved with it as well, because it's there to also raise funds for the NFLPA college scholarship, to raise funds for that.
Now, is this something where, like I said, I know you said it's an invite to primarily players only, but is there something where maybe if sponsors wanted to get involved, could they, maybe get involved with some sponsorship to, again, increase the funds that are coming into the event?
We can never turn down sponsorships.
Can't turn down that money.
We would definitely love that. So any sponsors who want to get involved with us, just email us at officialproplayers@gmail.com, and we would love to entertain you. And one of the things about what we try to do is that our motto is help me, help you. So if you help us, we're always going to support you back. You support us, we're going to support you back, because we want to stay connected and we want to be involved with whatever others are doing as well.
I like that. One more time, give us the date, time, and places they say about the upcoming event, and, of course, any website or social media where people can find out more about Official Pro Players.
Sure. It's Official Pro. If you want to look us up, it's officialproplayers.com, and the date of the event is October the 8th. But if you can just email us if you're interested in getting involved with the fundraiser, you can email us also at just officialproplayers@gmail.com. It's like I say, it's a private event, but we're looking. If you're looking to get involved and become an associate member, email us. We'll talk with you. We'll get you involved. We'll let you know how to get involved with what we're doing, and we can definitely be contacted on Facebook at NFL Players, and I can be contacted on. You can look me up on social media as far as Instagram at The Real Walt Harris, as well as Official Pro Players.
There you go, guys. Walt Harris, VP of the NFLPA Alumni Association Georgia or Metro Atlanta chapter. We thank God for him stopping by to join us and being the inaugural guest on the Players Porch, a new platform that we're going to have for current and former players to come on and tell you what's going on as a counterweight to all of the negative stuff that's going out in the media. Walt, man, we thank you, bro.
Hey, man, I love your program. Keep it up. Looking forward to continue to stay involved.
God bless. I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and then we have another guest here that is already in the queue waiting for us. We're going to shift over to college football, talking a little bit about those Yellow Jackets, the Bulldogs, and big stuff going on with matchups in college football. Don't go away, because we want to hear from you. All right, everybody. Good stuff going on here. As you can see, we got some great guests. These guys are state-of-the-art here with Walt Harris, VP of the NFLPA Alumni Association. We're going to bring you those types of quality guests. We now have Rod McKenzie is coming on from GoJacks.com to talk about the Yellow Jackets. A little bumpy week last week, but they got a big game coming up against Miami. Hold up, man.
Say a little bumpy.
Wow. All right. I'm going to go back to the commercial. I can't mess with these guys. Let's plug you back in and let them hear the commercial. The people are paying us to be here on the air. I'll tell you. Before we get into it.
Center in Stockbridge. Now is the perfect time to schedule your holiday party. Big or small, we cater them all. 2 hours of bowling, shoe rental, choice of one of our freshly prepared spreads like the pasta meal or southern barbecue meal. Your holiday party is waiting for you at Pinstrikes.
Pinstrikes Entertainment Center, 3478 Mount Zion Road, Stockbridge. Call 770-302-0786 or online at pinstrikes9.com.
When you need a vehicle for your business, you need superior performance and quality service. You need Bellamy Strickland Commercial Trucks. They're in McDonough, Georgia, just south of Atlanta, and can meet your Isuzu, GMC, and Chevrolet commercial truck needs. Their friendly staff will help you find the fleet trucks and vehicles you need at a price you can afford. Their 35 years of experience and commitment to quality have earned them the loyalty of customers throughout the U.S. Check out the website at www.bellamystricklandtrucks.com or call John Winter, the general manager, at 770-954-3017. Bellamy Strickland Commercial Trucks, the truck capital of Georgia. All right. Unfortunately, we did not hear a lot of that on Thursday night. We had a big primetime game here as the Clemson Tigers rolled into town with a guy who is one of the members of the short list of Heisman Trophy candidates. Deshaun Watson came to town with the high-powered Tigers attack, and at least in the first half, they did not disappoint, really laying the wood, as we like to say, to Georgia Tech in that first half. Well, we have a guy that has been covering them for over a decade here. He's going to join us and talk to you about what he saw on the field and what the upcoming chances are for the Techsters to pull out a victory at home against the Miami Hurricane. We have Rod McKenzie in the building. Rod, what's cooking, man? Oh, Rod's not here yet. Okay, so we'll just hang tight and look to get Rod on the air with us in just a few minutes. But anyway, for those of you who have been following college football and following the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, unfortunately, they took a nasty beating.
You know what? I give it to Georgia Tech. They started off the season 3-0, but they got hit in the mouth early, and they got hit in the mouth by a really good team.
Right.
With Clemson. Deshaun Watson, taking nothing away from him. That's why he showed why he's in the top 3 for the Heisman Trophy. The defense, Clemson's defense was just picking apart Georgia Tech's offense. Anytime your quarterback only has, I think he went 4 for 14 in the whole game, and your running back's not doing well, Justin Thomas, we saw he was able to throw the long ball against those smaller schools, but can he do it against the high-powered defense like Clemson's? That's going to be the question if they could do it against Miami.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they were not able to solve the Clemson attack. Clemson ranked number 5 in the nation, and showed us why they were. Especially in the first half, they totally dismantled the Jackets and kept Justin Thomas on the roll the whole day. Stunning stats for Justin Thomas: 4 of 13, actually, 29 yards.
It isn't always easy to know
29 yards, period. So that was something that was very unfortunate there to see that. We're going to go ahead and bring on again a guy that covers the Jackets, been covering them for a good long while. He's a writer for GoJackets.com, and he's normally right there on the scene, right in the middle of it. Rob McKenzie, welcome back, man.
Hey, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great. Well, Rod, we were there. We saw the carnage unfold as the Jackets just seemed to never get on track there in the first half against a very, very good Clemson team.
Yeah, I think one of the main things I took away from the game was how talented, Clemson was. The front seven was as good as I've seen this year. They had 3 or 4 guys that are probably going to play in the pros, and they just, took the game away from Tech right from the start. You have to give Tech, a little bit of credit for, hanging in there, playing well, or at least better in the second half. And, the score could have been a lot worse than it was if they hadn't have kept on fighting.
Well, it's funny because, as usual, with Tech, what's been the wonk for the last couple of years, everything changed on basically a handful of plays over a very short period of time. The Jackets had been manhandled, but basically, as you mentioned, their defense kept them in the game, and we found ourselves with a 14-0 deficit going to the first half. And as you mentioned, it could have been more, and then everything turned around basically on a couple of plays.
Yeah, I think if you're a Tech fan, the couple of plays that you really hated to see, one was the fumble into the end zone that led to the safety, and that was followed up by a touchdown. That was 9 points right there that could have been taken off the board, and then you had in the second half you had the halfback pass, which you're coming back, you have the receiver open, you short arm it, and the interception takes place, and that was the ball game right there.
Yeah, it really is amazing how just really in a span of about 5 minutes, the Jackets went from, I'm not going to say they were winning, they could have won the game, but certainly they could have made the game competitive. I mean, you were at a 14-0 deficit. Clemson seemed like they had lost a little momentum, and certainly with an interception late, even if the Texans don't score, now you go in 14-0, you get the ball, maybe you get a drive, get it 14-3, 14-7, we got a ball game, but unfortunately not so much. What do the Jacks have to do now coming up against one of my guys has a question for you.
Yes, sir. Sure. I was going to see just them going down like 14-0 and their past history when Georgia Tech goes down, don't you see where that offense that they have is just so one-dimensional? Don't they need to add some kind of passing arsenal to their plays besides maybe 3 or 4 little play-action plays they have or rollout?
Well, they ran a lot of play-action plays against,
I said besides that.
Clemson's front seven just overpowered them. Justin Thomas, when he has time to throw, has shown this year that he can throw the ball, and he's had a couple of games where he's had over 200 yards passing. So, it's Georgia Tech has shown, the thing we hear all the time is, well, Georgia Tech doesn't have a 2-minute offense, but if you look at the number of times that they scored under a minute, under 2 minutes, I think you'd be really surprised. So it was just a case of what kind of talent Clemson put on the field, and of course Georgia Tech did have a lot of missed assignments, and I think that was a result of who was playing across from them.
So I have a question about Georgia Tech's whole front defensive line. How do you feel they reacted to Deshaun Watson, and do you think they could change that in the future against Miami?
I think they did. I think they did a pretty decent job, and they held Clemson's rushing under what they've been normally getting per game this year. Gallman's one of the better backs you'll find in the ACC. He runs hard. You can't get him down with one guy. You have to gang tackle him. And you had a quarterback in Watson who, you have to not only watch his vertical passing game, but he can also take off and run the ball. I think it's going to be a little different this week because Kai is a strictly a drop back passer who rarely runs the ball. He may run if you give it to him, but I think they can really maybe tee off a little more this week. And I think we've seen the defensive line, improve each week, especially now that they're trying to, they're developing some depth and guys can get off the field and get a breather every now and then.
Look at that Miami team. What's going to be the key for the Jackets to be able to pull out a victory at home?
I think, first of all, just like in most games, they're going to have to shut down the run from the beginning. Walton gained over 130 yards last week. You're going to have to stop him from getting going. Because if he gets going, that opens up what Miami can do against you, and it'll make Kai even more effective than he is. You have to take away the big play from Kai. He likes to go vertical a lot. Offensively, Tech's going to have to control the ball more than they did. They're going to have to be more like they were against Vanderbilt, in which they rolled up 500 yards. So if they can control the ball, and the one thing they really have to stay away from is another poor first half. They've been playing well in the second half of games, maybe starting a little too slow. So I think the emphasis this week in practice is getting off to a fast start, keeping the offense on the field, and trying to keep the defense off the field as much as possible.
Yes, sir. Now the firing of Les Miles this past weekend is, the rumors say it's because he was a little stubborn on offense. Didn't want to change into the newer times.
Right.
And now, can't the same thing be told about said about Paul Johnson? Doesn't he need to? It's about coaching and adjustments. Now, don't you think he should put a spread package or something? Because he's being a little stubborn too.
The offense is called a spread option.
Is it a spread option?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of plays you can call, but you cannot call those plays unless the defense is giving it to you. For instance, against Vanderbilt took away the B-back, the dive play, so they went outside on the perimeter. When they started to try to shut that down, he went back inside, and the B-back took over the game. So Paul Johnson doesn't go by a script. He goes by what he sees happening on the defensive side of the ball as the game progresses, and he plays with what he feels is going on in the game. So the offense the playbook is pretty extensive, and it's been successful. We saw when you have the right personnel in place. We saw what happened in 2014. Running Mississippi State off the field in the Orange Bowl.
And Rod, you hit a good point there. Isn't that really the key to Georgia Tech? And one of the reasons why this offense has been successful anywhere he's went. Georgia Southern obviously winning multiple national championships, Navy taking them to big time bowl games and getting double-digit wins. Is that when you're limited on how you can recruit? Because obviously Georgia Tech can't recruit like Georgia. They can't recruit like SEC teams because of academic requirements. So it seems like this has worked. This guy has won everywhere he's went, including at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, he made a good point today. He said, we're not going to be able ever to have the same type of personnel that Clemson brings in, but if we go out there and execute, we have a good chance of beating them. And they've proven that by the fact that, up until the game Thursday night, Clemson hadn't beaten Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech since 2003. So, you can bring in some good athletes, but you're not going to be bringing in the 4 and 5 stars on a consistent basis like schools like Georgia and Clemson are able to do.
So again, next week, I guess, to sum it up, your big keys are offensively, they need to get back to controlling the ball, playing Georgia Tech football. Obviously, that's what they do best, time off that clock, and really to keep Kaya away from doing what he's been doing so far this season, lighting it up. The guy's thrown for over almost 700 yards. And also, as you mentioned, Walton can't let him get the breakaway. He kind of set the tone against a very good App State team. This is a team that went up to Neyland Stadium and gave Tennessee all they could handle. I got a Tennessee guy here who's looking kind of sideways, but he's always taking shots at Georgia Tech about the way they operate. But you got to remember that App State team, that Miami, an ACC team, laid the wood to him in App State. That's going to be really the key, I guess. Can the Texans do it? Well, listen, man, it's always a pleasure to have you on. We look forward to hopefully being there with you, ground floor. Now, it's a 12 o'clock start on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, we have to get out of bed early on Saturday, it looks like.
Yep. Players walking in, I hear, at 9:30, so it's going to be really something to see. And so we encourage you guys to get out there, if for nothing else, not only to support the Jackets, but the return of an old friend, Mark Richt, coming back, former Georgia coach, doing a great job with Miami. Well, listen, how can people find out more about you, Rod?
You can find us on GoJackets.com. We're part of the Scout.com network. We do post-practice interviews, post-game interviews, and we also do interviews with players, high school players that Georgia Tech is recruiting. So we cover just about all you can find: football, baseball, basketball.
Well, there it is, the main man at GoJackets.com, Rod McKenzie. Check him out there at GoJackets.com. If you want to know what's happening with the Yellow Jackets down the flat, this guy has got all the information. Rod, man, we appreciate you and look forward to having you back again.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Rod McKenzie in the building. Well, you guys, I know you like to take shots. And I heard, see how Miles did it? He did it real slick. He tries to, you think Coach is a little outdated. Real smooth, bro.
Appreciate the shots at LSU, by the way. Too.
Right. Took a shot at Coach Miles. We'll be talking about him a little bit later on as well, to whether LSU made the right move or not. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. We're broadcasting to you right here on the airwaves, everywhere you can find us, on RealTalkSports.net. You also can find us on the TuneIn Radio application. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you will find us broadcasting to you right here, right now. Phone lines are open again, 404-361-1571. You can reach us right there. And now we have to go to the other side of town. We have to talk about the guys in the red and black. The Georgia Bulldogs got kind of it handed to them as well. A nasty beating. And I want to say that again, a nasty beating by the Mississippi Rebels. At one point, Georgia down 45-0.
Yeah, Ole Miss walked in, hit him in the mouth, and never let up. It was just...
Hit him in the mouth, but they hit him with a forearm shiver, kicked him in the groin, punched him in the gut. I mean, they did everything. Wow.
You know what? I think it was bad that Georgia got beat down, but it's actually a good experience for a young quarterback like Jacob Eason. Now he knows what to do and how to handle this pressure. So I'm hoping he's going to be able to do that against the Tennessee team, which I don't think has that strong of a defense like Ole Miss does. Because that's one of the faults Georgia did have. The first two quarters, Ole Miss was just picking apart Georgia's offense. They had a reception, interception, return for a touchdown. Jacob Eason wasn't going nowhere. Nick Chubb, 12 carries. It wasn't much, but we'll see what they do against Tennessee.
Well, I know that we got a guy sitting here. He's actually got, for those people who saw him before on Facebook Live, he's actually wearing that faded orange Rocky Top. I don't know how long he's had it. I think he's had it in his closet for about 22 years. Probably might have been a gift when he was a youngster. But anyway, we're going to talk it from the Georgia side of the house. And we have a guy here that is an outstanding writer of Georgia football. Mr. Murray Poole joins us from Bulldog Illustrated. Murray, man, welcome to the show.
Yeah, good to be here, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Well, listen, Bulldogs kind of had everybody excited, jumped up to the number 12 spot, 3-0, and looked like they might have had an answer for Ole Miss, but then the wheels kind of came off. What really happened against that Ole Miss team?
Well, the game started, guys. Ole Miss kind of drove down the field, and Georgia held them to a field goal, and you were feeling pretty good then that it might come back, instead of giving Chad Kelly a touchdown. But then they came back, and Eason threw that pick six, 52 yards, and that really kind of started the avalanche, I think, and, really got the Rebels going. They just did everything right, and Georgia just really didn't show up to play, young team as they were, but it all comes back to the offensive line just not creating any space for Chubb and the running backs, and until they can get some blocking, that's going to really hurt them, and it'll certainly be devastating for them Saturday against Tennessee if they don't get better in that area.
How you doing, Mr. Poole? This is Miles Tyson. Good to have you on the show tonight, sir. Hey, I was telling you, ask you that did the Georgia Bulldogs put too much pressure on Eason to throw the ball too much? It's kind of like they was feeling like they had to score point for point with them. Should they have used the three-headed monster they got with Chubb, Michelle, and later on Mr. Elijah Holyfield got in there and looked pretty good. I think they should have ran the ball a little bit more to get the freshman a little more.
yes, to answer your question, Miles, I think they threw the ball a little bit too much early instead of trying to establish more of the run game. But, yeah, the running game, I don't know. It seems like Kirby's just trying to do brute force like he did at Alabama, playing a tight bunch formation. And the guys and it's not creating much space inside of the tackles. They just don't have the lineman Alabama he had at Alabama. And until they do, you really think Georgia would spread people out and give Eason a little more time to throw to the backs, throw to the sidelines, and that by him having success, that would open up the running game a little more. And I'd really be surprised if they don't change something up against Tennessee here Saturday.
Hey, Murray, I got to ask a question for you. One of the things that kind of was disturbing to me to watch the Bulldogs is what you first mentioned, this whole idea of them once again not showing up in a big game. But more importantly, what has been going on with the receivers? These guys all look like they got oil slicks on their hands. I've never seen so many drops out of a top caliber team. What's going on up there?
Yeah, Jonathan, they just, I don't know, they're just concentration or whatever it is. James Coley, the new receiver coach, was offensive coordinator at Miami and came in, and I don't know if they're doing anything different in practice, but and they said they put them through contact, catching the ball, and without being hit, everything, but just can't explain it, like you say, why they're dropping it in the game. Terry Godwin's playing okay. He hadn't dropped too many, but they haven't targeted him much. But take for instance Isaiah McKenzie, the game of his life against Missouri, 10 for 122 yards. Then he goes out, drops one down the middle, and drops an apparent touchdown pass back to back. And so you can't put your finger on it, but until they step up and take some load off that running game by catching the ball and getting Eason more comfortable, their troubles on offense are going to continue.
Yeah, it was that I think was really the key. Even though Mississippi kind of rolled them over, those drops really did it.
Yeah, it was a case, I think, coming off an emotional win and just celebrating so much and just didn't show up for Ole Miss. And Tennessee may be in that same boat this week. I understand they were dancing on the field, celebrating and all, like they won the SEC championship, but that's just one game. I know you'd do it if you hadn't beat a team in 11 years, but, Tennessee better come down to life, or they're going to be in the ball game Saturday in Athens, I can promise you, because Georgia's going to play with more spirit. They're going to be a different team, and right now I don't think it's good enough to beat Tennessee, but I think you'll see a different Georgia team Saturday.
Well, sir, I have a question. So how do you feel about elaborating on Georgia's running game? They got this so-called three-headed monster, but do you think they're really using it to its best abilities, or is it more falling on the offensive line's part?
It's definitely on the offensive line, Miles. They're just not creating space for him, and I think he's getting a little discouraged. And I'm going to say he's not quite 100%. We thought he was in the North Carolina game, right, but he's not blasted up in there, and when there's nothing there, he's not popping outside, running the daylight like he and Todd Gurley both did in years past. And it's amazing that he's come back from that surgery like he has, but he's still not quite Nick Chubb yet. But at the same time, when they ran outside with a toss sweep on the corners, he got 12, 13, 14 yards. I don't know why they insisted on keep trying to, shoot him up between the tackles so much when the space is not there. You got to get him out on the corner and get his confidence, and maybe that would help the linemen get a little more confidence too when they can see him running for first downs like that.
How you doing, Mr. Poole? This is VJ. I heard you speak about confidence. We talk about Jacob Eason. We have seen that when he is protected in the pocket, he has the ability to make the big throw. And I'm thinking that, having him back there in shotgun, they have to do a better job of protecting him and catching the balls when he does get it to his receivers to help him get that confidence, and not only complementing that with a good run game. Like Reggie was saying, that he didn't think that they were using the running game that well. Nick Chubb he had 12 carries for about 57 yards. They have to do a little bit more to gain Jacob Eason's confidence and get him started.
Oh, no question. They've got to, like we talked about, they've got to catch the ball. When he puts it on the money, like he did about 5 times, they dropped. Because a freshman needs the confidence to grow during a ball game, and when they're dropping passes and when they're not running the ball well, the offensive line, they're not coordinating and helping a young freshman quarterback. There's enough pressure on him anyway, and you could see his head kind of go down. He got sacked 3 times. That's demoralizing. And like I heard somebody told me today, if they don't get a running game going, Tennessee and everybody else on the schedule coming out is really going to tee off on Jacob Eason, and he's going to have a rough freshman year learning too much the hard way. So it's got to complement each other, and you give the guy time in the pocket, I think he'll make the throws. But like Kirby came in the dressing room, in the interview room Saturday, and the first thing he said when we asked about him, he said, guys, he's a freshman. He's going to make mistakes every game, but we've got to help him better, and we didn't do it today.
There's no question. Well, listen, we are excited to have those Bulldogs and be able to play this game at home. I think that they're going to make it closer than people think, and it's really going to be this. If you look at the numbers, and again, we know a lot of these numbers were garbage time when the game was out of hand, but there is clear that they have not just 3, but they have 4 guys. If you include Brian Herrian, they have 4 guys that can run the football. And then you also have some guys that can give you some trick plays in Godwin and McKenzie. So we're just going to see what the Bulldogs can do. Maybe open up the cupboards and give you something, a little trickery coming up against Tennessee. Well, listen, Murray, how can people find out more about you, follow you? Because I know you guys do a great job at the Bulldog Illustrated.
Right. Yeah, we have a number of different writers, and I'm just one of them. And I'm in the press box, of course, every week. But, be kind of the first-hand writer on the games itself. But we have a lot of bloggers every day, writers. But they can go online. It's all free reading, www.bulldogillustrated.com. That's BULLDAWG. BulldogIllustrated.com, and great content and pictures on there every day. And our issue comes out, our print issue is out every week during the season. It comes out. Unfortunately, it's only in the areas of the Macon, the Athens, and right now, and the Golden Isles down here where I live. So, but it's quite an issue. We changed to a magazine format, all color magazine and stories and content, and so people can go in there and see that magazine. It's on this week's issue, Tennessee issue, is on there online now. You can click on it and flip over every page, blow it up on your screen, and read all the stories. And then there's a lot of other stories too relating to the game and fan. And I think we've become pretty popular because we have 3 or 4 pages of fan photos at every game. The fans get to see themselves and see their friends, and along with the football stories and everything, a lot of pictorial content, and even some social aspect for the women in each issue now. So appreciate you having me on. And Bulldog Illustrated, I think, has really grown. I've been with it 14 years. I was a sports editor of the Brunswick News longer than I want to say 40 years almost in Brunswick, Georgia, and really like what I'm doing because I graduated from Georgia and cover the Bulldogs and still getting to do it. The one thing I love,
Well, that's a beautiful thing. It's always good to talk to a man that actually bleeds the red and black. So it's a good thing. Murray, listen, we appreciate you, and we look forward to having you back on the show again real soon. I think Miles has got something for you real quickly before you go.
Hey, sir, I appreciate you coming on for me there, sir, for us. And I know you are about to say, do you have a prediction? But I'm pretty sure you're going with Georgia. But what's your point?
No, I don't go with Georgia. I went with Ole Miss by 10. And they kind of opened that up a little more than I did. I'm picking Georgia to fight well, but I think I said on our podcast last night, which is on the site too, being another guy do it, I said 34-27 or something like that, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, there you go, Murray
Smart
Poole.
Man.
Now we don't endorse no betting here, boys, but you saw that Murray Poole put the line at 7 Bulldogs.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I enjoyed it, though, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, man. We appreciate you. That was Murray Poole from Bulldog Illustrated. Like I said, we're trying to bring you the very best guests, giving you the inside tip on all these big games that are going on. And we're also going to do that in the pro game as well. We're going to take a little tiny break, and then we're going to have a gentleman join us hopefully very, very soon talking about our Atlanta Falcons and can they stop Mr. Cameron Newton. Keep it locked right here.
Come one, come all, ghosts and ghouls of all ages. Enjoy the ghastly delights of over 35 rides within Lake Winnipesaukee.
Step inside, witness Halloween fantasy and your bleakest nightmares. Twisted Fun, Friday and Saturday nights 6 to 11 p.m. and Sundays October 23rd and 30th, 5 to 10 p.m. It's fearful fun just for you. In our center ring of chaos, horrifying terrors of the new Feargrounds await brave souls, wicked clowns, maniacal mysteries, and frights from the darkest shadows that'll make you scream with delight.
Step right up and save $2 every Friday and Saturday and Sunday, October 23rd and 30th, with a coupon from area McDonald's. Want to know more? Call 877-525-3946 or visit LakeWinnie.com. Lake Winnipesaukee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Get spooky.
Hey, have you had the opportunity to check out your local Clayton County Library lately? You don't know what you've been missing out on because it's a serious come-up. You can get free movies, music, and magazines with your library card. And the Clayton County Library has 3D printers, music production equipment, and all kinds of cool free stuff. That's right. They have 3D printers and production equipment at the library. Man, it's the best kept secret. And September is National Library Card Sign-Up Month. So it's even easier to get a card. That's right, just stop in today at your local Clayton County Library. It's just that simple. Stop by your local Clayton County Library and sign up today. I've got my library card. How about you?
Terrence Taylor, New York Giants, and you're with Real Talk Sports.
A little NFL Films theme music here. You know what time it is? It's football time, professional football time. And, of course, we are here in Atlanta, so we're going to talk about our hometown Atlanta Falcons. And who better to talk about the Falcons than the #1 beat writer for the entire Southeast that covers the Falcons. He's there. He's embedded with the team. And he actually traveled with them to New Orleans. And we appreciate him taking time out from his busy schedule to join us. D-Led is in the building. What's up, man?
Hey, Jonathan, how you doing? Thanks for having me on Real Talk Sports.
Hey, brother, listen, it's great to have you back with us. Okay, first of all, you're a veteran, so you've been down to New Orleans several times. What was the vibe here, 10th anniversary of the Katrina game?
Yeah, it was quite festive before the game. New Orleans Saints fans are, they know how to throw a party, that's for sure. And they tried to throw one on the field, too, but that didn't work out too well for them. But great atmosphere in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Well, first of all, before we go any further, I did mention on social media, but I want to mention it here publicly, as the guys did on the broadcast. Condolences to you and your family on the loss of your sister. I know it's always tough, man, to go on and do your job when you have a family member that passes on, but certainly prayers and continued blessings towards you and your loved ones.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and I'll share that with the family, Jonathan. Very grateful for that.
Yes, sir. And like I said again, man, we just appreciate all the stuff that you do off the field, because a lot of people don't know. They just see you, in both the TV and the radio broadcast, and certainly the wonderful video you do on AJC. And they see this guy that's always dapper dressed and seeming like he's having a good time all the time. But you do a lot of stuff with students up at UGA. You're actually a professor up there. And I even saw you had, like me, myself, your young Chargers actually out with you at the Hawks game. So we want to commend you for what you continue to do in the community outside of sports.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. And, folks helped me out along the way, and whatever I can do. And when I can do it, I try to help some other folks out here starting out in the industry.
Well, now let's get to some football. Falcons look like an entirely different team, D-Led, went down to New Orleans, and we finally saw the offense that everybody was predicting we could have. Matt looked stellar.
Yeah, their timing was immaculate. The running backs ran hard. Coach made a point of noting that the offensive line sustained and held their blocks a little longer, and that helped to create some of the running spaces and some of the running seams for the back. So, if you got that block in there up front, and you could run the ball for 200 yards on folks, you're going to, be able to throw when you feel like it and throw on your terms. So they were able to do that in New Orleans. And it started in Oakland when they scored on 6 or 7 drives to finish that game and come back and win it, and just took a bunch of confidence with them down into the Superdome against a banged-up Saints defense, but they took it to them nonetheless.
Hello, Mr. Leber. This is Reggie. My question is to you: how do you believe that this offense that they ran was more of a, from practice, Matt Ryan type offense from the last couple games? Saw him try to hurry it up, run a lot more fast-paced offense, or was this Kyle Shanahan actually trying to change it up?
No, it's the offense that he brought with him, his dad's offense. The Broncos run it still to this day. Under Gary Kubiak, But they did do some more no huddle. They have been doing more no huddle. And, we've been on Kyle Shanahan about the no huddle and not wanting to run it because when they run the no huddle, magical things happen when Matt Ryan's running the no huddle. He's Matty Ice for a reason. He's won a lot of football games here in Atlanta, and he's won a lot of them running the no huddle. So they ran about 25 plays of it in Oakland, about 43% of the offense there. And then in New Orleans, when they got, in the shootout there, they went no huddle to speed things up and take over that game. So, he's a great no huddle operator. Coordinators starting to recognize that, not just going off of media legends. So we should probably see more of it as the season progresses.
Good evening, Mr. Ledbetter. This is VJ. Watching the Falcons and Saints game, I feel like the biggest success that the Falcons had was the success that they had on the ground. The ability to run the football in the game really separated them from the Saints. Devontae Freeman, he had really a good breakout game. He wasn't able to reach the end zone, but the complement between him and Tevin Coleman really gave them success, opened up the play-action pass, and they were able to get the ball down the field. I feel like if the Falcons are going to have success in the NFC South and remain in first place and contend to get in the playoffs, they're going to have to be able to continue to run the ball like they did on New Orleans.
Well, you can't really expect to get 200 yards every week there, PJ. That's being a little greedy. But I know what you're saying, though. You're not going to average 7, but you need to average 4.6, 4.5, 4.2. But everybody's not going to be without 8 starters, so it wasn't like they were pounding one of the best defenses in the league either. It's going to be tougher sledding this week when they see Quan Short, Charles Johnson, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis. Those guys are going to put up a little bit better fight. But the offense, and BJ, you are so correct, is predicated on running the football. And Matt Ryan dropping back 40, 44 times a game, it's not a winning formula for the Falcons. So they got to run the ball.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was this week they're playing against the Carolina Panthers. Now, do you think the defense? Do you think the offense is going to score this many points? I seriously doubt it against this defense that they're going to have. So, do you think this defense can hold up against Cam Newton? Because the defense actually been giving up a lot of points for the Falcons. So, I mean, that was a shootout, and that was like maybe the 25th, 26th ranked defense in the league that they played against. So the Falcons basically had to outscore New Orleans last night to win, and they will not be able to score that many points against Carolina. So do you think the defense is up for the challenge?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. They'll have to be, and you're correct there, too. But the Falcons did beat Carolina last year in Atlanta. So they won that there. They kind of had to after they went up there and laid an egg in Charlotte. It was a pride game 2 weeks later, and after, Cam and them dancing on them and doing the dab and all that foolishness, the Falcons kind of had to take it to them, and they did. So, but the defense, they've got a blueprint for how to frustrate Cam, and you saw Minnesota take it to Cam on Sunday where they had 8 sacks and made him throw 3 interceptions. He got confused in their coverages. He couldn't find Kelvin Benjamin, and then he couldn't find his second guy, Greg Olsen, and then he was forced to hold the ball. And, he's got to do better than that in reading his receivers. But the Falcons will have to try to simulate that, cover up Benjamin. If it takes 2 people, put 2 over there. And you got to do a better job with the tight end. They struggle covering tight ends. Kobe Fleener, Cleve Walford, and Austin Safari and Jenkins have all scored touchdowns against them. So they don't cover Greg Olsen and Benjamin. That's going to be a long day for him on Sunday. Cam's hurting a little bit. He doesn't have his main running back, Jonathan Stewart. And so, some of the guys may be trying to do too much, and may explain why the Panthers are 1-2 right now.
Hello. I have a question. So, how much of an impact do you think Julio will be in this Carolina game since he only had 1 reception against New Orleans? Do you think he's going to be more of an impact or the Falcons going to stick with the whole running gun?
No, he had 7 targets. I only saw him get 4, but the stat book has him down for 7. I don't know how healthy Julio is and how much of a decoy he was. They haven't been letting him practice, so we don't know how healthy he is. When we get to see practice tomorrow and Thursday, we'll know a little bit better how Julio's doing. If they hold him out, that's a sign to me that he's not 100%. They'll just have him out there and use the other guys, which they know. Now they know they could win without Julio.
Well, it's interesting, D-Led, you mentioned that it seemed like really after all those, the 2 receptions that he had where the tackle was made immediately, and they I noticed that teams are really kind of using this drag tackle technique against Julio, which continues to put a lot of stress on that ankle. So I think you're right. I don't think he's 100%, but I mean, we see even at 80%, he's a tough out.
Yeah, and Carolina doesn't have the greatest secondary. They let Josh Norman go. Got Robert McClain, a former Falcon, playing over there at one of the starting cornerback spots. So, if they can get to that secondary, there should be some opportunities to make some plays.
I think tomorrow is the day that we normally get a chance to, in the press, to talk to the opposing quarterback. So what are some of the things that you're going to look to talk to Cam about? I mean, obviously he's a local guy from here, Westlake High School. His dad is still has a big imprint here in ministry. So what are you going to kind of lay on Cam when you talk to him tomorrow?
We'll want to know what happened in that game. It was his 4th lowest quarterback rating game in the pros. We haven't seen him play like that since his rookie year. What did Minnesota do to throw him so far off his game? How could he get Kelvin Benjamin more involved in the attack? Those are some of the things that I'm sure the Charlotte guys have already got to him about. But we want to know about that. And then he comes down here to see his brother play at Grady, so we'll ask him some Atlanta stuff too. And Bishop Newton, Brother Cecil's always been kind to the AJC, and we always try to be respectful of that relationship and make sure that Cam is shown in a positive light in his hometown.
There's no question. I agree with you 100%. Every time we get a chance to cover the 7-on-7 tournaments, we try to do the same. His dad has always been very cordial to give us some time on the sidebar. Always good, that preacher-to-preacher conversation a little bit, so we appreciate that as well. Listen, D-Led, one last thing before you go. Give us basically, I think you've capped it up pretty good, but give us maybe 1 or 2 more keys that we are looking at in order for the Falcons to pull out a victory. What do you think that the two main keys that we need to look at as fans?
Yeah, that kind of inside football. Well, the big one is how do you control Juan Short, Tony Ely, Charles Johnson, and Startulu. Those front guys are the ones who do all the dirty work that allow Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis to roam the field. If you could somehow get some movement up there, then you can open up some things offensively, against the Panthers. So, how they handle that front, Alex Mack and the guards, Andy Levitre and Chris Chester, how they handle that, how healthy will Julio and Mohamed Sanu be to attack those receivers, those cornerbacks in the weak Carolina secondary. You can throw some screens and stuff like that, but, that'll get them moving too. But that'll be the key for, on the defense, it's just going to have to, read the, try to shut down the run, take away Olsen, and, keep Kelvin Benjamin from beating them over the top. Ted Ginn got out loose against the Falcons last year, so, it's not like Cam doesn't have any weapons up there.
But there it is, D-Led summing up, I think, pretty well. And D-Led, I know the Falcons' defense, as much as it was maligned, and rightfully so, they registered 2 sacks, baby, including Mr. Freeney coming through with his first sack. I think that's the first sack they actually had by a lineman, because the other sack was by was a quote unquote an out of bounds sack that Vic Beasley had, and of course the big sack by Trufant. So, is there some light at the end of the tunnel? Might we see a pass rush?
Yeah, coach was quite optimistic because the other numbers are up too. They had 4 hits and they had 9 pressures between Beasley and Freeney. So it's ramping up a little bit, slowly but surely, and they certainly believe it's a work in progress. They can get there with the pass rush. We saw some blitzing. We'll see some more blitzing, especially the way Minnesota blitz can. The Falcons are going to try their chances at that too, but he's a big boy. You got to get him down, and he'll run and take off on you too. So they'll have to be careful with their blitz packages against Cam.
And speaking of blitz package, tell people, first of all, give people information on how they can find out more about you. And also, you wrote a seminal article because you, like myself, are a little bit of an old school guy. So you remember the original Grits Blitz, and you wrote a tremendous article about that. So tell people how they can find out more about you and also see those great videos that you do each and every week after the games.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm AJC.com, and you just click your way to the Falcons page off of the sports tab. And then we do a lot of links off of our Twitter account, DOrlandoAJC, at DOrlandoAJC.
Well, there you go, guys. The best sports writer for Falcons news and inside activity. This guy is right there in the ground floor. I know, I've seen it with my own eyes, and he gets the kind of information that nobody else does. D. Orlando Ledbetter in the building. Thank you, man, and we look forward to having you back again real soon.
Sure, no problem. Thanks for having me. It was my pleasure talking to BJ and Reggie also.
All righty. Well, guys, like I said again, that's D. Orlando Ledbetter. Does a great job in the community, both on and off the field. And as you can see, man, he's got the pulse of it. Was down there in New Orleans. He travels with the team. So we look forward to having him back periodically to kind of give us those inside shots of what's cooking. Hey, man, you saw it. I mean, that game gave you some potential on what can be. You look at the Falcons, they average around 7 or 8 yards a carry on the ground. Matt Ryan, that's where he needs to be, somewhere around 30, 35 attempts, somewhere around 250 to 325 yards passing. If they can get at least 125 yards on the ground, the Falcons can be a team to at least give you a little something. Of course, again, you guys always, one of these days we're going to do a full TV show so we can get the 2-camera situation so you guys can see these looks at the young guns.
I'm agreeing with you on this one. The Falcons.
Now, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about your running partner over there.
But the thing is,
Tyson. I'm talking about him.
The thing I was most happy about after seeing this game and from the Oakland game as well, the thing that the Falcons really didn't do well last season was keep the momentum going into the second half.
Right.
They didn't fall apart in the second half. They stayed strong. They had a great second half against New Orleans. I think that's going to be a real big factor against Carolina this week.
Well, we got to go to a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the rest of the NFL and also about our Atlanta Hawks because it's basketball time already? What you talking about? Don't go nowhere.
Hi there, my name is Tim Mullen.
All right, guys, you heard we got the best guest on the A. D. Orlando Ledbetter was in the building. We had the gentleman from Bulldog Illustrated, Mr. Murray Poole. We had Rod McKenzie. We bring you all the insiders to give you the best information. And, of course, the young guns chiming in as well. So, hey, man, every Thursday night we're going to do it. We're going to ramp up our high school coverage. So I'm listening to you guys out there. If you have a high school, you got a high school athlete that you think needs to be profiled, let us know. Send me an email to js@realtalksports.net. We'd love to have them on the program. We'll bring the coaches on. We'll bring the young athlete on, having a really good time. So, hey, let us know. We'll bring them here, right in the studios at WIGO. Who knows? We might go out to you. Maybe. But we won't know if you guys don't email me, okay? js@realtalksports.net. All right, well, you got to listen to the advertisers because we got some great guys that are helping us out. All right, guys. Encouraged and inspired. And that's why I'm inviting you to join me on the Clarion Call broadcast every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570. The show brings you inspiration from the Word of God and information from great guests to help you make it through the week. It's the Clarion Call Show, Wednesdays, 9:30 a.m. here on WIGO. You can also listen on your mobile device with the free TuneIn Radio application. Remember to check us out online at www.clarioncallshow.com.
This is Harry Douglas, and you're listening to Real Talk Sports.
Yeah. See a lot of people lost. Yeah. And they don't know which way to go. This is the way to go. Yeah. Yep. Come on. Let me show you how to do this. You wanna know? If you wanna know, I'll show you. If you wanna know, I'll show you.
A little bit of my buddy Be Wise. If you want to know, I'll show you. He's talking about if you want to know the way to the kingdom, want to know the way to heaven, it's through Jesus Christ. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO. Also broadcasting to you online at realtalksports.net. And, of course, on the free TuneIn radio application on your phone or mobile device. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. And remember, follow us anywhere on social media simply by going at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. Again, Real Talk Sports 7. Well, we're going to take a peek here at the rest of the NFL. Lots of things going on. A couple of surprise teams. I think the Cowboys and the Eagles in the NFC East kind of shaking up the rafters a little bit, especially after the Eagles' big win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. And how about Dak Prescott for the Cowboys? Well, we got a guy that likes to talk football all the time. He does a sports show on Saturday right here on WIGO called 100 Yards of Football. We call him Mr. Football. Vincent W. Turner, I believe, might be in the building. Mr. Turner, are you there?
Yes, sir. How y'all doing this evening?
He's in the building. How you doing? Well, first of all, sir, I know that Vols. Boy, hear that, man? This is what I have to go through the whole program. Go Vols. I know you're a Tennessee man, so you don't mind that, but, man, I tell you.
Hey, I'm going to say this right here. I'm going to go and get the party started.
Let's
get it. Know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
it's all about the state of Tennessee, the 901, the 615. Y'all don't know where we coming from now. And most of all, I don't appreciate what the Georgia beat writer said. I watched that game on Saturday. He talking about the Tennessee players were dancing on the field. I didn't see nobody dancing.
Well, there were reports
with class.
Right, there were reports.
See, that's what I'm saying about Georgia. We're going to get that on the field Saturday. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt your show. How you going, Miles? You the two guys?
Yes, sir,
you don't know where we're going with this.
Yes,
go
sir.
Orange, baby.
Yes, sir.
Rocky Top.
Okay.
Amen.
Well, and don't sing it either. Don't start. Don't you sing it. We don't want no singing. But, yeah, but at the end of the day, here's the thing about Georgia and Tennessee. Georgia still is looking like the old Georgia, not showing up in the big game, in the big moments. Unbelievably poor play against Mississippi. So we're going to see which Georgia shows up against Tennessee. But, yeah, there was some reports, that not necessarily on the field, but there was just a lot of celebration by Tennessee in the locker room.
Where was these reports from? Because I read the AJC. I went online. I didn't see nothing like that. So I'm talking about, where did you get your information, the Georgia beat writer?
I'm just saying, bro, there was some alleged.
Where did you get your information?
No, I got my information. Wait a minute now. Slow down. I was listening to some other sports shows on other stations, which will go unnamed.
I want to know the source.
We're going to drop them. Yeah, 680 The Fan and 92.9, both mentioned.
That figures.
Right. Wow.
That figures. The former quarterback over there played on the 80 National Championship team. I understand. Wow. But see, it's talking about
payback. Fired,
the big
baby.
Payback.
Shots fired.
The big payback coming back. Of all those years that y'all throwing us, a lot of Georgia fans are throwing us under the bus. Mm-hmm. And now a lot of Georgia fans are talking about, oh, we can win this game, but now Tennessee Bucks to win. Before the start of the season, the Big Orange was picked to win the SEC East. Mm-hmm. And what is really going to make me happy, and I know Miles can relate to this, we're going to come into Athens with Joshua Dobbs, outstanding academic student, aerospace engineer, also is going to get a double degree in biology, chemistry, went to Alpharetta High School, and we're going to come in here and roll over there in UGA in Athens on Saturday. That's going to be my greatest joy right there, brother.
See, this is, I can see clearly that this is going to go hard left. So I'm going to go ahead and get off it. And now you asked me about the source. Another source on this celebration, I'm going to leave this alone. If you go to CBSSports.com, okay, this is the article. Look. Tennessee fans, not so much the players, but Tennessee fans are burning their couches in celebration of beating Florida. And they have multiple videos of the fans going wild, okay? Burning up couches, out there burning up cars like y'all won the SEC title. I'm just saying. Oh,
that's you throwing a shot right there.
No,
okay, now you're throwing a little shot. But I understand, Minister, you from up north. You ain't never really liked Tennessee because of my love for the school.
Wow.
The greatest quarterback that might have played in the NFL, Peyton Manning, played there. The greatest D lineman that ever played in the National Football League, Reggie White. But that's all right.
Maybe.
Because you know where we coming. And it might be Tennessee and Michigan in the national championship game, and that'll really ruin your day.
Well, now, hang on. First of all, it won't ruin my day because, as you know, on your show, I actually picked Michigan as one of the CFB playoff teams. So, I mean, the minister knows. I can kind of see the tea leaves. Speaking of that, really quickly before we get into the NFL, we got massive games, almost like the first week of the season coming up. Big showdown games. First of all, right here, affecting the ACC, you obviously have Clemson against Louisville. The young man from Louisville looking like Michael Vick reincarnated. Matter of fact, even a step quicker. The other big game you have is a surprise team out of the Big Ten, Wisconsin. Everybody's shaking their head looking kind of funny, but Wisconsin rolled up and beat the brakes off Michigan State. They have a big game coming against, of course, the Michigan Wolverines. And out there in the Pac-12, Mr. Football, two teams that you talked about on your show, Washington Huskies, the big showdown against Stanford. First of all, let me ask you a quick question. Stanford, can they continue their march to possibly move in the CFB playoff by knocking off a very strong Husky squad?
Nope.
Well, I'll say this right here. A lot of people echoing in the background. I'm going to say this. Football is played on the field. I'm not going to get away from David Shaw, Christian McCaffrey. I'm not going to get away from them. Solomon Thomas, one of the best D tackles in the nation. I'm going to take Stanford in that game, but they're going to play a very good, respectable Washington team. Chris Peterson has got his thing going up there. Remember, this is the same guy that came from Boise State, and they got a very good football player in Miles Gaston at the running back position. So by no means it's going to be a close football game, but I'm still saying Stanford is going to come out of the Pac-10 and represent that conference.
No doubt. And right here in our backyard, obviously a little bit further away, the unbelievable play, the Louisville Cardinals against Deshaun Watson, a guy who in the Clemson team, we saw their front seven really kind of shut down the Georgia Tech attack. Now, we know that Justin Thomas does not compare with the young man at Louisville, but do you think Clemson can continue to roll, or is Louisville going to put their stamp on this football season by knocking off Clemson?
I'm going to say this right here. On Saturday night, I don't know what anybody else is going to be doing, but I know I'm probably going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings in Douglasville because you're probably not going to see this no more. You're talking about two quarterbacks. And Lord have mercy. You got to be thinking about how Michael Vick is looking at this, how everybody's turning over in their grave. They gave Joe Gilliam, Warren Moon, Frank Pollard. To see these two brothers going head-to-head on Saturday evening, Lamar Jackson, oh, my God, 5 times better than Michael Vick, 6'3", 205 pounds. And what is so amazing about this young man, he can throw the football.
Rock it on.
I was listening to an NFL scout on another show, since we throwing sources, out of New England, by the way, said that Lamar Jackson might be the greatest talent that's ever going to step in the NFL. Now, that's kind of funny because me, myself, I was talking about Deshaun Watson was probably the best quarterback I've seen at this level. But I don't know, man. Lamar Jackson, I know you don't like him, Minister, but Bobby Petrino is saying, how you like me now? In Louisville, as we say down in the 901, ballin', and we're not doing it on the basketball court.
Well, there's no question, man. Louisville with Lamar Jackson, this guy is a seminal talent, electrifying play. You're right, he is bigger and actually appears to be even a step quicker than Michael Vick, if that can be even thought of. But, yeah, it's going to be a showdown. Deshaun Watson against Jackson.
Did you know this? I'm not trying to cut you off.
Go ahead.
You know the other school that he almost went to?
What's that?
Was the Florida Gators.
Wow.
Can you believe that if he would have went to Florida?
It would have been insanity.
And the only reason he didn't go to Florida, Jim McIlvain was recruiting another quarterback. I think the kid named Flippy Frank signed with them.
Right.
And then Lamar Jackson said, nope, I'm going to stay, and I'm going to go down to Louisville with Bobby Petrino.
Unbelievable.
What? One more thing. For one thing, y'all need to quit disrespecting Michael Vick. And another thing, Lamar Jackson definitely is not faster than Michael Vick. Michael Vick ran a 4.26 40 coming out of college, and Lamar Jackson ran a 4.42.
Do you have something to back it up? It's nobody trying to disrespect Michael Vick here, man.
Okay. But I'm just saying.
We talking about potential. Michael Vick time is gone.
Yes, sir. I'm
saying that. Look what Lamar Jackson's on pace to score over 60 touchdowns combined this year.
Oh, he's the best player in college football.
The record is Colt Brenner with 63 in Hawaii. I'm just saying, Michael Vick came on Twitter and said this guy's 5 times better. And you sit up here saying he ran a 4.26. I want you to put that in writing, man.
He ran a 4.26.
Where is that in writing? Where can I go look that up on the website when the show is over with?
I don't know. Back in 1999, I don't know.
That's
It was
what
coming
I
out.
thought.
I don't know if you can
So
find it back
So
then.
you don't like Lamar Jackson because he's from Florida. So I told you, don't make.
I'm from Florida. What do you mean? I went to high school in
Florida. He didn't play
Florida.
for Florida this weekend when they took on our Vols because it would have been totally different.
Hey,
believe that.
Lamar Jackson is definitely a magnificent talent, and I'm picking Louisville to beat Clemson. Actually, that's my prediction.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Miles. Let me ask the panel seriously, and Minister. Is Lamar Jackson right now the best football player in the country?
Yes, sir. Hands down. No, there ain't no question about
Minister?
Well, I tell you, Mr. Football, as usual, you have stirred up the pot again. You got all these guys going left, right, sideways, every which way but loose. All right, last game here we'll do. I know that you're not a big fan of this because you think the Big Ten is a second-tier conference, but Wisconsin against the guys in the maize and blue.
I'm gonna agree with you, Minister. We better start looking at Wisconsin because they're the number 3 team in the nation defensively, and they got an outstanding linebacker in Vince Beagle, a tremendous corner in Sojo Shelton. A lot of people thought that win over LSU was maybe a little tainted, but I think what they did last week, going up in the East Lansing, beating a Michigan State team that had previously destroyed a Notre Dame's team on their home field. Oh, yes. I think we better take a look at Wisconsin being a little serious. I'm not saying they're going in there and beat Michigan because Michigan has been hot right now, but I would say this. I wouldn't be surprised under Paul Chryst, the head coach in the Badgers.
Well, it's them, and they got a chance to prove themselves. They got Michigan this week. They got Ohio State next week, and then they got an hour after that. So they got a little 3-game
But think
streak
about
to show
this. They went in and beat a Michigan State team who had just came off beat Notre Dame, and if you looked at social media, I'm just going this past week, there was a lot of people saying Michigan State was of quality, national championship quality, and Wisconsin went in there and beat them on their home field 30-6, and the game wasn't even close. I think they held Michigan State under 20-25 yards total offense.
Well, they said that about Michigan State last year too. You see what happened to them in the Final Four too, but Michigan.
How many teams make it to the Final Four last year, though, sir?
I understand.
How many teams in college football made it to the Final Four?
Just 4.
If you want to be techno like that. See, I'm not going to say anything. It's a real tough sports show. But, Miles, one day we're going to bring you on 100 Yards Football. And it seems like we're going to have to teach you some Southern ethics about respect, knowing history, and respecting your elders in this game of pro football in college.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. On that note, as usual, our show is coming to a close. So we're going to let Mr. Football head on off. But before he goes, what is the best way for people to find out more about you and 100 Yards of Football?
You can catch us every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the incredible radio 1570. Yours truly. Sometimes the Minister of Defense, Mr. Jonathan Simmons, join us. We got the Coach Barry Brown, the author of the Student Athlete Playbook. We got a guy by the name of the offensive coordinator, Mr. Cornell Hardy. And this week, the truth, Mr. Bradley Mason at Alabama State University. And hopefully, we can bring your guy in, Mr. Miles Gaston, who always likes to give me a hard time. But I love him, though, because he's a Tennessee fan. And I want him to do this for y'all. Go out there and sing, Go Rocky Top.
I asked you
the
not
Tennessee
to sing.
Volunteers.
All right.
Woo! Rocky Top. Have a blessed evening.
Amen. Well, I don't even know how to even respond. I think that's a good way to end the show right there with some bad singing Rocky Top. Well, let's go ahead, Mr. Miles. Give us some final remarks really quickly, sir.
Just God bless, and just shout out to Redemption Fellowship Christian Ministries, where chains are broken. Pastor Lawrence Williams is our pastor, and God bless. Good night.
Mr. VJ.
Good evening, everybody. Appreciate everybody listening, tuning in. See you guys next week. Roll Tide, roll.
Mr. Reggie.
I would say go LSU, but we're doing kind of rough right now. So shout out to Monday's Mill. We're doing something.
Go Vols.
Well, guys, listen, of course, as I like to ask you each and every week, do you know Jesus Christ is your personal Savior? I want to say, if you don't, please, man, please, sir, get to know him today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. That's the only way by which you get into heaven. As you can see, we're not always here permanently, so get yourself right so you can go into heaven. And plus, you want to have a life well lived here on the earth. I want to give a shout-out to Miss Erica, our board operator, for doing a good job as always. Everybody here at WIGO, we say thank you every time we leave the air. And that's why we just close out with a little bit of Miss Burrell. Thank you, Jesus. God bless you. Have a great night. All right, guys, we appreciate you. We appreciate those of you who watch us live. We appreciate those of you who watch the video replay. It got to do too crazy in here. But we enjoy it. That's how we do it here on the Real Talk Sports Show. We appreciate each and every one of you that joined us. We wanted to get some Hawks talk in, but we could not. As you can see, football kind of ruled the roost. But we will be talking some Hawks next week as they get ready to launch. There's some big things happening in the NBA with what they're doing now with the state of the nation. The NBA has decided they're going to be proactive in terms of how they're handling their commentary on what's going on. The Hawks are having a game here called the Unity Game with the Cavaliers. A lot of stuff going on with the NBA as they are aggressively trying to be ahead of the curve because the league is, I believe, 80 or 90% African-American. And they want to make sure that, and not just because of that, but it's really, we see these things that are going on in the community, and they're not right. I mean, they're not right. I'm not talking about a guy that's got a criminal record. Even guys got a criminal record. You have situations where individuals who are not African-American have killed multiple people. They've blown up buildings, and mysteriously the police are always able to take them alive. So I'm just saying that there's a disconnect where you have a guy that didn't kill anybody, a guy who was unarmed and who has been killed in routine traffic stops, a guy with a car broken down the road. I mean, I don't care what kind of, you say the guy had a criminal record, I don't care about any of that. The first officer had an opportunity to fire a taser. He did. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. We're going to leave that for my ministry broadcast and for the blog. We thank those of you who have tuned in to join us. We're going to be bringing you more Real Talk Sports in various ways, through video, through TV, through blogs, good Lord willing. And we appreciate you, because without you guys watching us and tuning in, we wouldn't be here. All right, everybody, God bless, and have a great night.